You are standing in the parking lot of your own store, staring at the red tape across the glass doors and the sheriff's paper seal signed by the county clerk in Tulsa. Inside sit 317 units of electronics you bought at a liquidation auction for $23,000. None of it belongs to you anymore, because 15 of those boxes contain laptops stolen from a police evidence locker during last winter's raid. You didn't know. You swear you didn't. But the deputy leaning against your pickup truck, smoking a cigarette, looks at you like you just stole his pension. The first person to put a screwdriver in your hand was your father, in the basement of a Khrushchevka in Kamyanske, where the air smelled of tin and cheap soldering flux. He fixed neighbors' TVs for a bottle of vodka and said technology was the only thing in the world that didn't lie. If it doesn't work, something is broken, and you can find it. He died when you were 11, leaving you a set of screwdrivers and a habit of taking everything apart down to the last screw. That habit will play a cruel joke on you later, but more on that in a moment. The second was Vitalik, owner of a stall at the Dnipro radio market, who taught you the main rule: buy under-the-counter tech cheaper than honest goods and sell it with a 300% markup while looking the customer in the eye. He paid you 3,000 hryvnias a month, and you thought it was a fortune until you saw his new Mercedes. Vitalik vanished in 2016, leaving behind debts and your conviction that honesty is a luxury you cannot afford. The third was Milton, the landlord of the space on East 11th Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, who took your first month's rent, $1,700, and looked at you like you just bought his soul. He said, in this town, a word is worth more than paper. You nodded then. 6 years later, that same word will force you to stand in this very parking lot, watching your life get taped off. So here you are in Tulsa, with a suitcase, $3,000 in your pocket, and the belief that you're smarter than all these cowboys. Day one at your own shop, Midland Tech, smells of cardboard, dust, and cold LED light hitting your eyes at 7 in the morning. You stand among empty shelves, calculating in your head how many units you need to sell to cover rent. The first customer walks in at 10, an old native man, wanting to fix a 1997 radio receiver. You don't do repairs, but you sell him a new Bluetooth speaker for $89. Profit, $62. You feel like a king. You don't yet know that this same speaker will be the first step toward the abyss. The first year is coffee from the corner machine for $1.25, 4 hours of sleep, and the feeling that you're finally alive. $6,000 a month, more than your father earned in his entire life. A used Ford F-150 sits in the lot, and you believe this is the beginning. The second year brings the first big contract with a local hotel for 27 TVs. You do everything by the book, but the supplier slips you 3 refurbished panels disguised as new. You notice too late. The hotel sends an $8,000 bill. You pay out of pocket and learn. Trust, but check every single box. The third year is Milton raising the rent by $400, nearly forcing you to close. But then a client arrives, a construction firm manager ordering office tech for $40,000. You make the deal. The money hits your account, and for the first time in 2 years, you exhale. You don't know this manager will become a witness against you 3 years later. The fourth year is the liquidation auction, where you buy a batch of tech for $23,000. The price is suspiciously low, but you tell yourself it's luck. You don't check the serial numbers. You just load the boxes into the van and drive home, thinking about finally fixing the roof. And then you open the first box and see the police seal stuck to the bottom. The deputy in the parking lot doesn't arrest you. He just says, "We know you didn't know, but the tech is ours and you'll pay for storage." The bill comes a week later, $67,430. It's everything you have. The store closes. The bank takes the Ford. You're left with your father's screwdrivers and the realization that in this country, even your innocence costs money. Milton was right. In this town, a word is worth more than paper. But he forgot to add that sometimes that word doesn't belong to you. So, are you ready to pay for your honesty? Or is it better to learn how to lie right from the start?